If you've been following the channel, you know that one of my favorite places to go to here in Springfield is the Moxie, Springfield's only independent art house cinema. And they have started a brand new series called Big Screen Classics, which is happening all the way up until December 31st. So, this is what you could see. And the first film that they showed for Big Screen Classics was David Lean's Lawrence of Arabia. What is there to say about Lawrence of Arabia? It is truly like a masterful accomplishment. One of the most ambitious, grandiose films we've ever had in the history of cinema. Like, I mean, what else do you think could have come close to, like, Lawrence in terms of its sheer scale and story? I mean, there might be an answer, but I can't think of any. Maybe Lawrence is just too good that everyone else is like, okay, we can't get any better than that. Lawrence of Arabia was the first film to have Peter O'Toole. And right off the bat, he just showcases how brilliant of an actor he is. Like, from his characterization to his performances. Like one of the best moments O'Toole gave in the film was how he's talking with the generals and says he doesn't want to go because he had to execute some people. And he doesn't want to do it again because he enjoyed it. O'Toole, had, a shivering throughout it. As well as, the scene before it, when he's getting a drink and he's just shaking. You can really see the fear in Lawrence. And O'Toole just nailed it perfectly. This doesn't happen much. You don't just make your film debut and give off such a, masterful, worthy performance. That happens, very rarely. But I guess O'Toole really had something in him. All the other actors were really good. Whether they were likable, unlikable, you were always, kind of hooked to them. Something else that I was incredibly hooked to is the cinematography. No doubt Lawrence of Arabia has some of the most beautiful cinematography in cinematic history. From, the scene where they blew up the train to the iconic transition of Lawrence blowing out the match to the sunset. As well as, other shots of, other sunsets, other shots of the desert. This movie is just so insanely beautiful. Its story is also told so well. It has a lot of great acting. It has insanely beautiful sets. I just feel overwhelmed by the movie. Now, if there was one tiny little problem I had, or it's not a problem, but while I did like the kind of build-up, I didn't like it as much as, what happens after. It's kind of like Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2. Part 1's good, but, it's mostly just kind of a build-up, but then Part 2 is just, holy cow, this is so insane. That's how I kind of felt for, the build-up scenes in Lawrence. It only seems until, they get everyone, and then they start traveling. That's where it's okay, now I am 100% in the film. I'm in this. I'm just ready to see, what this film has going on. But, at least, but I still thought the build-up was pretty good. Another thing that's kind of one of those things where it's once you notice it, you can't unnotice it, are the redubs. Now, this film was restored around like the 80s, I believe, by Robert Harris. And so, like, about 20 years or so, or like, when they were doing this, the original sound mixing on the film was like badly degraded, or it's like it was in like a really bad quality. So they had to bring in Alec Guinness and Peter O'Toole for like ADR stuff. I didn't notice it as much with O'Toole, or like it wasn't as noticeable, but with Gillis, it was like, oh, that's noticeable. Like you could really hear like a quality audio change, but it didn't ruin the film or anything. It's just one of those things where it's like, once you notice it, you can't unnotice it. But yeah, Lawrence of Arabia is just fantastic. I'm just so happy I was able to see this on a big screen. Like, as soon as I heard the Moxie was getting this, I did not give it a second thought, and I just said, I'm seeing it. I'm booking it. Nothing else matters. This is my escape. And my form of self-care, which is something we've been talking about in one of my classes. And I just said, this is my self-care. Seeing Lawrence of Arabia on the silver screen.